Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
Okay, so we've officially made it to day number 12 of Sean P. Diddy Combs' federal trial, but yesterday wrapped up with even more explosive developments. Testimony continued around Cassie Venturas and the people who were part of Diddy's inner circle during the alleged abuse. The defense continued to chip away at Cassie's credibility, highlighting her recent $10 million settlement with the Intercontinental Hotel, where one of the key incidents in this trial took place. Now, Diddy's legal team is now pushing for the release of documents related to that settlement, arguing that it could expose inconsistencies or financial motives in her testimony. But Cassie's lawyers are firing back, calling the subpoena a harassment tactic and saying she already testified truthfully on that matter, and if you didn't get all of the testimony you needed from her then, you're not getting it now. Now, taking the stand yesterday was Deonta NaSh, who is a former employee of Diddy's and a close friend of Cassie Venturas. Now, NaSh described a violent moment when he and a woman known as Mia, also referred to as Victim 4, physically tried to intervene during an assault on Cassie. Now, he said that they both jumped on Diddy's back to stop him, but were thrown off. NaSh testified that Diddy continued hitting Cassie until her head slammed against the bed frame, causing her to bleed. According to NaSh, Diddy panicked when he saw the blood. He also revealed that Diddy once threatened to leak footage of Cassie and even said that he would send it to her parents' workplace to get them fired. Mia is expected to testify next. Now, earlier in the day, the defense called for a mistrial after an LAFD arson investigator claimed that the LAPD threw out fingerprint evidence from Kid Cudi's home where Diddy allegedly broke in. The judge denied the mistrial request and struck that part of the testimony. Now, Diddy is facing multiple charges, including sex trafficking, transporting individuals for prostitution, and racketeering conspiracy. He was arrested September 2024, accused of running a pattern of abuse, coercion, and intimidation over a 20-year span. Diddy continues to deny all allegations. We are going to get into trial day number 12 and so much more, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this case and so much more. Now let's get back into it. So a lot of people are asking, why is this a RICO case and will Diddy be found guilty? So to be found guilty of RICO conspiracy, prosecutors don't have to prove Diddy personally committed each criminal act, but they must prove all of the following. Number 1, existence of an enterprise. There must be an ongoing organization or group, formal or informal. It must function as a unit with a common purpose. In Diddy's case, prosecutors claim his business and inner circle formed an enterprise used to commit crimes. Number 2, the enterprise affected interstate commerce. The enterprise must have operated across state lines or had an impact on interstate business, for example, hotel incidents, flights, and cross-state events. Number 3, a pattern of racketeering activity. This means at least 2 acts of racketeering predicate crimes within 10 years. The predicate acts can include sex trafficking, witness tampering, bribery, drug distribution, kidnapping, and money laundering. Prosecutors are alleging a 20-year pattern involving coercion, violence, drugging victims, using business assets to commit and cover up crimes, and intimidate witnesses. So next we have agreement to participate. So Diddy didn't have to do all of these acts himself. However, prosecutors must show he knowingly agreed to the criminal goals of the enterprise. Even if others carried out some of the acts, he can still be guilty if he was part of the conspiracy. Testimony from Deonta NaSh is going to resume today, and we're also going to hear from Diddy's former assistant, Mia. Now, Subramanian denied a request from prosecutors to cut the video feed to the overflow courtroom for the duration of Mia's testimony. Prosecutor Madison Smizer asked that only the audio be available to the overflow spaces to protect Mia's anonymity. The judge said anyone in the overflow room would be in the main courtroom if there was sufficient space, so the video feed will stay on. Okay, so before the jury is brought in, Combs' attorney Alexandra Shapiro says the articles in the scrapbook are not being offered for truth. Prosecutor says the articles say that Combs wanted to get down to the the bottom of Biggie's unaliving, but the feds are investigating us. They've been trying to get this in. Judge Subramanian says if it went back into the jury room as evidence, it could be prejudicial to the prosecution, but to let the jurors look at it as a demonstrative. Prosecutor says if they flip through it, okay. If it's passed around, we'd want a limiting instruction. Judge says who is going to be cross-examining Mia? Shapiro says Mr. Steele. Steele says, what if we redact the part about Biggie's unaliving? Judge says it's more than that. You can see the articles are not relevant to this case. It's that the scrapbook was put together. Judge says you've been given some leeway. I'll leave it to you. Steele says I don't want to waive the issue. Thank you. Judge says the social media post, there's an objection. I'll overrule it. The text message, my sense is there are parts in the threads that are hearsay. Prosecutor says they are trying to show that the defendant was going through some heavy shit and that's why he was acting this way. Judge says, what about her smelling her own armpit?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Prosecutor says, I don't think that's relevant. Judge says, okay, 401. Prosecution says at 8:55 a.m. the defense sent me a slew of messages about Deonta NaSh that should be excluded. Judge says, Mr. Donaldson, what are these? Xavier Donaldson says, we want 2 photos in. The rest are for impeachment. Prosecution says, I was told of the photos last night. Fine. Judge says, bring Mr. NaSh back in and then our jury. Prosecution says, we rebooked the witness flight for 2 p.m. We are hoping we will be off the stand in time to make that flight. All rise. Mr. Donaldson says, how are you? Bless. Donaldson says, DX 1806. Text from you. What was Capricorn Clark's role in 2011? The mixtape? She was gone. What did she work on when she was there? Maybe the photo shoot you guys showed yesterday. I learned a lot from Capricorn, actually. Do you recall a picture of Cassie in green hair? That was a group idea. I walked the carpet with Cassie in New York at the VMAs. It was a curated look. You had to get approval? Yes, from Puff. You said Mr. Combs was kicking Cassie on the ground, the unfortunate eye gash incident, correct? Yes. You didn't tell the prosecutor she was kicking while bleeding? They didn't ask. I only answered what they asked. You know, Cassie was in a relationship with Kid Cudi while she was in a relationship with Mr. Combs. Oh, okay. You didn't know? I thought she and Puff had broken up. Cassie was in South Africa. You were at the Revolt conference in Miami, correct? Yes, I was there to style Little Kim. So yes, I did hook her up with Michael B. Jordan. I know where you're going with this. He fine, she fine. I mean, why not? Judge says, hold on. Donaldson says, so Gina was in Miami too? No, you're not gonna put that on me. They kept me away from seeing Gina. Cassie got upset. NaSh says that Ventura wasn't really pressed about Combs being in a relationship with Gina. She was more so upset about Combs running around with other women, and that affected her career. You set her up with Michael B. Jordan. Yes, and Mia drove it home, making sure that she had his number. So a bad boy employee set her up with Michael Jordan. That's Michael B. Jordan. Don't mess that up. Do you know Andre Branch? No. You were aware Cassie was in a relationship with Andre Branch. Oh, the cute football player? Yes, I never met him though. And in 2016 with Brandon of the NBA, sorry. In these texts, you talk with Cassie about Michael B. Jordan. You say, no one better say shit to me. L-Y. What is L-Y? Love you. Or maybe it's a typo. L-Y, know everything. I don't remember. I'm sure we were being antagonized by your client. So Cassie was upset by Gina. She say, girl, let's just go out and do our thing. Do what she want to do? Actually, we are both pretty chill. Stayed in the house a lot. But that would be fair. Let's read these messages. You do the blue. Oh, you got some names in here. Just go ahead. NaSh reads the message saying, where are you going? Donaldson reads Cassie's message and says, secret trip out of town. NaSh says, girl. Then he starts laughing. NaSh says, good friends don't pry. That's not my method. I just replied, girl. Donaldson says, highlight the green part. Cassie is telling you October 30th, 2013, after the incident with the cut on the face. She says, I already asked Puff if I could go, but I've been turning up too much lately, which is true. NaSh testifies that the phrase turning up too much likely meant that she was going out too much. You saw her with a black eye on FaceTime around the time of the Intercontinental. I saw it in person. When her makeup would wear off, you could see it. Let Mr. Donaldson ask you the question, says the judge. Donaldson says, now you read these. After Cassie says, this end is wasted. We both did the same. Nash says, is there a lot of people there? Oh, it's talking about Gwen Stefani's song. He said, take your broke ass home and ride into the sunset. That's what Donaldson is reading. Nash said, and we did. Donaldson said, did she mention to you about having threesomes with other men? No, she didn't tell me. Donaldson said she kept that part of her life secret from you? Yes. He says, although they were close since 2008, she didn't tell him anything about that part of her life until 2013, 2014. Mr. Nash, read that to yourself, then lift up. On May 10th, 2025, you told the government the videos came from her phone? No, I told them he would tape her on her phone. Isn't it true she said videos were from her phone? He would record her on her phone. I stand firm on that. You said Mr. Combs said you won't do this one thing for me? Yes. You said you saw Mr. Combs pointed in Cassie's face in The Blind Dragon, right? But you never told the government, right? The first you said is at trial. I guess so. I gave them very little by phone. She said she didn't want to go. You helped her pick out clothes for court? She couldn't fit anything. She needed clothes. For the pregnancy? Right. On that Friday after she finished, she called you and said, I'm done? It wasn't like that. Did you get Cassie super high? What? No, I did not. Mr. Nash, this 29th birthday, you say she packed sex toys in her duffel bag from her bedroom, right? Correct. Mr. Combs didn't say grab the sex toys. They were going. On the golf cart, let's talk about Las Vegas, New Year's, 2016, 2017. You said you were told Cassie was sleeping all day, correct? Put up DX1847 for the parties only. What's this? Cassie, the low budget producer you mentioned was there. Yes, right next to me, snoring. You said Cassie told you another man was coming over and asked you to leave. Both of us. Your reaction was a sigh. Yes. You saw a man walking around, knocking on the door, and they let him in. Yes. They were not on drugs, right? We were doing them in our separate places. Once I started working, I just started going. I was packing my 10 body bags. Donaldson suggested that since Nash left without asking any questions, he must not have had any concerns about Ventura's safety. He said, I always did. But in this situation, you left her in the room anyway, right? Yes. Then they went to a hotel, and again, she didn't tell you that she didn't want to go, correct? Actually, she said she wanted to stay home, work on her music. Read the green. Enjoy y'all time together. Y'all don't get much of this. That's you telling Cassie in January 2017 to enjoy her time with Puff, correct? Yes. Cassie wrote, I spoke up for myself, and you wrote, you wish you were there with them on vacation. No, I meant in Mexico, not with them. Cassie wrote, the next room is on the beach. This one on the golf course. I have everything organized. I wrote, laugh out loud. Do you all have a lot of shit? Donaldson as Cassie says, yes, but we made it all fit. Nash says, girl, you always on vacation. Donaldson says, you stayed in touch with Mr. Combs? Yes, because he was cutting up. Oh, I get it. You did a seafood thing with Cassie, correct? DX1814. You know Kim Porter, who tragically passed away? Yes. You knew Andre Harrell passed? Yes. You text Mr. Combs to make sure he was okay? Yes. Mr. Combs wrote to you, the trainer? You could have given me a heads up. Black heart emoji. How is she? He meant Cassie. Yes. In 2020, you wrote to Mr. Combs, I love you. Anything you need, I got you. Yes. Mr. Combs won an award that year and you congratulated him. I don't think so. I asked how to RSVP to his party for someone else. Claire Somers. Cassie told you about a secret trip? I object, says prosecution. Sustained. You deeply care for Cassie for 15 years? Yes. She kept secrets from you? And I do from her. We don't have to tell each other everything. Nothing further, says Donaldson. Redirect, says Judge. Maureen Comey says, why were you afraid for her? Things could get violent fast. What devices did Mr. Combs use to film her? Hers. You said they appeared high at the 29th birthday party? Yes. Was Mr. Combs in control of her actions? Yes. And what did you say? You're gonna get some dick tonight. Did she want to go? No. No further questions. Donaldson says nothing from me. Judge says, Mr. Nash, you are excused. The judge says the next witness will use a pseudonym. There is to be no recording. Witness comes in. How do you wish to be identified, says the prosecution. Mia, M-I-A. Prosecution says, don't show this exhibit. What is it? She says, my passport. The prosecution says, show it to the jury only. Brian Steele, Diddy's attorney, says, I would like to see it too. Prosecution says, where are you from? Virginia Beach, Virginia. Who is this? Sean Combs. What did you call him? Puff. I worked for him as a personal assistant, then as director of development and acquisition for Revolt Films. How was it working there? It was chaotic. It was toxic. It could be exciting, but the highs were really high and the lows were really low. Puff's mood determined the atmosphere, and his mood shifted all the time. Was he violent with you? Yes, he's thrown things at me. He's thrown me against the wall. He's thrown me into the pool. He's thrown an ice bucket on my head, slammed my arm into a door, and he sexually assaulted me. Sexually assaulted you more than once? More than once. Did you want to be in the arts? Yes, this was before social media. I thought if I put my mattress on my car and drove to New York, I could do it. I went to work for Georgina Chapman, red carpet dressing, then assistant to Mike Myers. How did Mr. Combs hire you? Mia says she was about 25 to 26 when she first applied to work for Combs. As part of the interview process, she says she went to Combs' apartment to meet with him, along with the head of human resources. She testified that Combs answered the door in his underwear. The head of HR introduced them and then left. Mia said he later put on clothes. She was told that she would work 40 hours a week, but she testified that she would work way more than that, and that she was told her starting salary would be $55,000. But it was actually around $50,000. Where did you start? His Alpine, New Jersey house. I was there all day. Then where? Back to the office for a few hours more. Then I was told Puff wanted me to come back to the studio. How long were you there? Until 1 p.m. the next day. Then where did you go? Puff's apartment, then home. How fast did you have to return? I didn't take a nap. I didn't want to risk it. How much did you sleep during your first 24 hours on the job? I didn't. I took it as a challenge. Mia stated that these first 24 hours she believed to be a part of her 2-week probation period, and so she didn't sleep at all. Mia says there had been a TV show a few years before called I Want to Work for Diddy. It was like that. Prosecution says, how did you deal with the lack of sleep? She says, when I was young, I'd tell myself you could sleep at 3 p.m. Objection, says Steele. Overruled. How long did you stay up once? 5 days. I take Adderall extended release. I could quasi-function and stay awake. When did you go to sleep? My hearing went and my equilibrium was off. Blurred vision, lights that weren't there. I cried. Were you then told you can go to sleep? Yes. By whom? Puff. Why did you stay awake that long? I was working. I am introducing exhibits. These exhibits are under seal. Mr. Steele says we renew our objection. Judge says admit it under seal. Prosecution says, Mia, what is this? A list of my responsibilities I sent to Tony Baez Fletcher on November 10th, 2011. Puffer says, I don't know what you do all day. Let's focus on a few things in this document. Please read this, Mia. All of PD's social media presence. Who is PD? Sean Combs, Puff Daddy. I wrote main liaison between PD and Hollywood. Did you do that? Blackberry 24/7. I wrote anticipate his moods. Why was that important? It dictated the day. You wrote every day is different and that he could ask you to crack his knuckles or do his taxes. Did you have an apartment? Yes, in NYC. Were you there much? No, my roommates joked they lived with a ghost. In LA, where did you stay? In the staff house, then in Puff's house, 9933 Beverly Grove, then 9374 Beverly Crest Drive, then 200 South Mapleton. In Miami, 2-star. Could you leave? Only with Puff's permission. Once I left at 2 a.m. after he was asleep, I got in big trouble. What happened? Security called me to say he was sending them to find me. It was at his first LA house, 2009-2010. Were you allowed to lock your bedroom door? No, he said it's my house. No one locks doors in my house, so it wasn't really my room. But did security get to lock their doors? Yes. One had a deadbolt, another had a keypad. I was told they were actively hiring other assistants. How long did Michael, the assistant who was there when you got there, stay? For 7 to 8 months. Were you the only one then? Yes, for like a year. How did that feel for you? I didn't have time to feel. It was insane. Puff gave me a pep talk like, we're a team, he said. I need a second brain. Did he hire more? Yes, eventually, but I still felt like I was responsible. Okay, and Mia, who's this? George Kaplan, he was another personal assistant after me. What was Revolt Films? Puff and I started it together. Were you still performing personal assistant duties? Yes. How much did you get paid? $70,000, then $100,000. There were supposed to be bonuses. Did you get them? No. Mia explained that getting to work in TV and film was a huge personal success. She said that although they started Revolt Film Production Company together, it was a separate entity from Revolt TV. Mia said that she'd essentially been running Combs' film production company for years and had finally gotten the title to reflect her work. She said working at Revolt Films was her dream and that working on TV and film projects was overwhelmingly awesome. Now they're going on a 10-minute break. Mia's face is barely visible, looking up only a handful of times. As she left for break, her shoulders were hunched forward in a way that made her appear much smaller. Diddy's family is in the building, his mother and his sons. He blew a kiss at his mother early this morning, and the family looks kind of somber. Okay, so they're back from break. Prosecution says GX2A401. Who is this? Cassie Ventura. How did you know her? Working for Puff. We became close friends. Still today? Yes. How was their relationship? Highs and lows, unequal. Was there any violence in their relationship? Yes. We'll get back to that. What was Mr. Combs' role with respect to her career? He decided on everything. Shows, the look. We have 3T107R. What is this? An email from Cassie to Puff and others. Me. Where did she send it? It was 4 a.m. It says 7 a.m. But we were in California. It was one of their hotel nights. What did she write? She was canceling, apologized to Interscope and others. Did Mr. Combs respond? Please read. Cass wrote about telling Slevin Hill. What does she mean, do you think? Stephen Hill of BET. The message in part says, I have been informed that I cannot perform on Monday due to overages and costs. I have worked very hard, but I cannot support myself on the things that I need in order to move forward and make this show happen and run smoothly. Combs responded to the email by telling her to reach out to another executive, saying she wasn't ready and that she doesn't want to embarrass herself. Again, Ventura responded, if that were the issue, I would. So since you no longer want to support your artist, I have to pull out. No label support, no show. Why did you forward the email to Tony Fletcher? I had to keep her informed. She was in charge of booking hotels. Did you ever see Mr. Combs on a movie set? Yes, when Cassie was shooting a movie, production would stop. Everyone would be really nervous. He would ask a lot of questions and sort of insert himself. What was his role with respect to Cassie's appearance? He was in charge of it. Mia said she would send photos of Ventura's outfits, hairstyles, and nails while she was at the salon to get his approval. Combs would ask Mia to send the photos, she said. Did you have exposure to Cassie's finances? Yes. How? I learned the company paid her credit cards and that the places where she lived were under his company's names and her cards. Did he take things away? Yes, cars and jewelry and support if he couldn't get her on the phone. He'd keep tabs on her through me. Was it part of your job to spend this time with Cassie? Yes, I had to do whatever Puff told me to do. Could you go where you wanted? No, we had to be where Puff told us we could be. And if not, something very scary. The punishment was unpredictable but terrifying. We'll talk some more about that as we get through your testimony. How would Mr. Combs communicate with Ms. Ventura? Sometimes through me. According to Mia, if Ventura did not answer her phone, there would be multiple people calling, texting, emailing her, trying to find her, or security would just show up. Did you see violence? And if so, what kind? I saw a lot of aftermaths and injuries she had. I've seen him attack her and throw her on the ground. I've seen him crack her head open. I've seen him chase her, things like that. Did she fight back? No. What did you hear and see? Suitcases being thrown into the foyer. Did you see Cassie after that? She was outside crying in a bush. She looked terrified. She gestured, I'm hiding. I'm not here. What did you do? Retreated. Did you tell anyone? I think the chef was in the kitchen. The sentiment was objection, says Steele. Sustained. What did the chef say to you? Objection, says Steele. Not for the truth. Sustained. What happened in Cassie's apartment? We were there, me, Cass, and Deonta NaSh. What were you doing? Helping her pack for her big trip to London. Puff came banging on the door, very irate. How did he get in? Key from the front desk? What was Mr. Combs asking Cassie? He said, have you been drinking or something? She hadn't answered his calls. What did Combs do? He came after me and Deonta, screaming, has she been drinking? He was crazy aggressive. He attacked her. He threw her onto the ground. Me and Deonta jumped on his back and tried to stop it. What did you do? Deonta is very small in comparison to Puff. There was a little tornado going on. He had Deonta in a position where I was scared he was going to unalive him. So I jumped on Puff, but he threw me off and against the wall. I felt like it was slow motion. I realized we were in big danger. He ran into the bedroom and grabbed Cass. Under her bed is a wood bed platform. He slammed her head into the corner. What injuries did Cassie get? Her head was gushing blood. What did Mr. Combs do? He got into protector survivor mode. According to Mia, when the attack eventually stopped, Combs told Mia to get in contact with an assistant to schedule an appointment with a plastic surgeon to fix up the gash on Ventura's head. He told Mia to say Ventura fell because she was drunk. Mia said that she followed Combs' directions because she thought that that was the only way she could get Cassie help and because Combs told her to do it. Prosecutor Smizer asked Mia to describe how Combs' appearance was during the incident. She said that his eyes were like black and that there was no getting through to him, like I was trying to get him to stop and it was like he was looking through me. Mia testified that it was the first time she realized the severe danger that she was actually in, and she noted that Combs did not appear to be under the influence of any drugs during the attack. Did you see Mr. Combs take drugs? Yes. When he was high, how did he appear? Sometimes the life of the party or hyper. Where was this? Ibiza or Burning Man or music conferences? Did you go to Prince's party? Yes. What happened the night before? Big award ceremonies, suite in the Beverly. He told me to stay with Cassie, that he was going to be at his house with his kids, but then I heard about Prince's party. What did you do? Cass and I debated like little kids if we should sneak out of the house and go to Prince's party. Prince performed on a little table. Then I saw Puff come in with his bucket hat. We locked eyes. I thought, oh crap. Cash just booked it. Where did you go? Across the street where there was woods or bushes, but Puff caught Cass and had her on the ground. Puff started to attack her, but Prince's security quickly intervened. And later, I went to another hotel. The next day, HR told me Puff was suspending me without pay. Did she say why? That Puff said I was being insubordinate. Judge says, okay, time for break. The jury leaves. Judge says, Ms. Smizer, how much longer with me is direct? The rest of the day, we like her off the stand by the end of the week. Ignifilo says, this is a problem. First it was a flight, now this. Judge says, I have not cut anything. I let Mr. Donaldson take the time he wanted. Ignifilo says, I am not blaming the court. It's a pattern I'm seeing. Judge says, it's common courtesy. Ignifilo says, I don't know how long Mr. Steele's cross will be. They don't need to put these things on the record. Judge says, if we can complete this witness this week, fantastic. It keeps things moving. Prosecutor Comey says, many of our witnesses are flying from across the country. We need to know for flights next week, Monday. Mr. Nash's cross was twice as long as the direct. Mr. Steele told us he anticipates his cross being about an hour to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at most, and no event longer than direct. Not to hold him to it. Judge says, I want to keep on schedule. Steele says, how late will we be going? Judge says, at least until 4. Now we're going to break. Okay, so now we're back from break. Prosecution says, we have subpoenaed from Verizon phone records. Ms. Garagos has agreed that if your honor finds them admissible, you can give them to us and we to them. Garagos says, that's fine. Judge says, let's get Mia back. All rise. Prosecutor Smizer says, Mia, you were speaking about violence between Mr. Combs and Cassie. Have you traveled to Turks and Caicos? Yes. To Parrot Key twice. In 2012, me, Puff, and Cass. What happened? I was sleeping in my bedroom and I was woken up. Cass ran in saying, you've got to help me. He's going to unalive me. What did you do? We started pushing furniture in front of the door, trying to block it. Puff was banging and screaming. I had a porch that went out to the beach. We ran. And what do you remember about running? I remember being amazed that even while running fast, we could still be attacked by bugs. Mia testified that she and Ventura took paddle boards they found on the beach and paddled out to sea while Combs was running back and forth on the beach behind the house, screaming at us. She described Combs as being irate. Mia said they got so far out in the water, but then the weather took a turn. She said they were trying to decide if it was scarier to face Mother Nature or to go back to Puff. Eventually, they went back to shore. Did you run another time? I have another visual of where we were hiding, trying to escape like 2 separate times. Did you ever call the police? No. Why not? I believe Puff's authority was above the police. This was a period where years and years before social media or Me Too or any sort of example where someone had stood up successfully to someone in power such as him. She said that Combs also always stressed confidentiality. She was taught to believe that the violence she witnessed fell under the requirement of loyalty she had to Combs's business. She said, I was supposed to protect him from people. So many people were trying to blackmail him, she said. I came to believe reporting anything was blackmail. Okay, Mia, what's this? A photo of Cass eating a hot dog at the premiere of her movie, The Perfect Match. She was bruising under her makeup. I took this photo. Any other injuries covered up on the red carpet? Yes, at the Cannes Film Festival. What injuries did you see? A busted lip? She was injured. Where were you? In her hotel room with Larry Sims, her hairstylist. Did you learn how she got those injuries? Cass had an audio recording of Puff attacking her. How did Cass sound on the audio recording? Objection, says Steele. Overruled. Panic. I heard the sound of someone getting hit. Did you go to events? The premiere of Brad Pitt's movie, Unaliving Them Softly. According to Mia, Cassie Ventura would stay in hotels when her injuries were too obvious to cover up before she had her own place in Los Angeles. When Mia visited Ventura at the hotels while she was recovering, they weren't allowed to leave the room. Ventura would eventually leave after her injuries had healed enough to cover up. Prosecution continues with the testimony. What happened at the premiere? Puff was digging his nails into her arm and talking low. What would Mr. Combs ask you to do? Take care of her. I'd bring arnica gel. For what? Bruises? Let's turn to December 22nd, 2011. At Puff's house, the mood was darker than normal. This was more of a Puff was upset. This is the calm before the storm. What did he tell you? That Cass had been talking to someone else? Who? Kid Cudi? How was he? He seemed heartbroken. It was ominous. I braced myself because I felt like something really bad was about to happen. I'd never witnessed Cass to do something to really cause him to be upset. Did you see her? In a black car with Capricorn Clark. Did you reach out to anyone? Yes, to D-Rock. Okay, so this is 3T112. What is this? My email with D-Rock. Only the redacted one into evidence. Steele says same objection. He was security. Judge says with that foundation, admit it. Read the message, please. I wrote to D-Rock. I'm worried about P. This feels different. Hit this email when you get it. Love you. Were you romantically involved with D-Rock? Definitely not. That's just how we talk. Okay, so let's talk about the hotel nights. What was your role? I would sometimes take them there, unpack, set up. I would have to just be on call essentially and clean up before housekeeping. What would you bring? His lotions and potions, Astroglide and candles, some of them cheap Glade candles without the label on them. They had to be white. What else would you bring to the hotel? Anything he forgot at the house, food, money. How much? A lot, like thousands of dollars. Do you remember seeing Cassie? At the London Hotel in New York, I brought something to the room. Cass opened the door. She was wearing a bright blue wig. How did she appear? Like she was struggling. I asked, "Are you good?" She closed the door. Who told you to clean the room? Puff and the office. It was standard to sweep the room so no housekeeper could sell something to TMZ. How were the rooms? Destroyed, candle wax everywhere. I've seen broken glass, sometimes blood, oil on the walls. What would Mr. Combs tell you about the blood? That it was period blood. What happened in Cassie's car in LA? Cass got a call, then told me he wants me to do a hotel night. I don't want to do it. She got sick. Cassie seemed visibly upset, more like nervous, really nervous. She started getting stomach issues because of it. Prosecution says after the hotel night, Mia says man down. What did that mean? They stayed in the room sleeping, only up to eat. Did you do drugs before you worked with Mr. Combs? No. And after? Yes, MDMA. Puff gave it to me. He said that I was now part of the Breakfast Club. What did that mean? Like the cool club. He said MDMA was pure. I felt like I was now a friend hanging out and I could enjoy myself. Did you take ketamine? Yes, at Burning Man, we were partying on a tour bus. Mia described Combs having 3 plates of white powder, one with Molly, one with cocaine, and one with ketamine. People were taking turns going up and playing some guessing game, Mia said. Combs told Mia it was her turn. She tried to protest, but Combs became upset when she tried to fake taking the drugs and separated out the dose he wanted her to take. Mia said she snorted the drug, which turned out to be ketamine, and then tried to blow some of it out when she was out of view. She testified that she had never taken ketamine before. I didn't think I had a choice, she said. Did he take drugs while working? He was always working, once on the way to Chelsea Handler. How did Mr. Combs treat you? Sometimes like best friends and working partners, sometimes like I was a worthless piece of crap. How would he compliment you? My work, he'd give me life advice. And to tell you were worthless? Long extended rants about how incompetent and stupid I was, threatened my job. Anything physical? Throwing things at me, yeah. Mia said on one occasion, Combs threw a computer at her head in his trailer on a music video set in Los Angeles. He was angry because the Wi-Fi didn't work. When she returned to the trailer to relay that a production assistant said that they were working on it, he cut her off. She said he cut me off and started screaming at me like I shouldn't come back here until I figure out the Wi-Fi myself. Something like, I don't care if you have to call Bill Gates, and then chucked the computer at my head. It just missed her, he said, recalling that she thought at the moment, wow, he meant to hit me. She ran out of the trailer and hid behind the luggage van. Mia said that the incidents that she's testifying about are only some of the times that Combs would throw things at her. She said when he threw things at her, she would often wonder, is there something wrong with me that I would make him so upset? Did he talk about jobs for you? Yes, before Revolt Films, he talked about other companies. I told him I wanted to create and develop TV shows, especially comedies. He said that he wanted to do that too, and that he'd take away my credits. What else did he throw at you? A bowl of spaghetti, turkey meat, a phone? Let's talk about the spaghetti. What did he tell you to do? To go get people, but I needed to change my tampon. He yelled, yo girl, I said do it now. Blood was dripping down my leg. I said, I have to go change my tampon. What did Mr. Combs do? He threw a bowl of spaghetti at me, then said, get the F out of my house. He chased me out. I was barefoot. I hid in the bush, then to a hotel. What did HR tell you? That I was going to be suspended without pay? That's what Puff wanted. Did he hurt you? Yes, in Turks and Caicos and at the Revolt offices. Where were you at in Turks? A hammock by my room. Puff dumped a bucket of ice on me, screaming. And then Puff took my phone. I didn't want him to see it. The team we'd message about his moves. I didn't want him to see it, so I jumped on his back. What did he do? He threw me into the pool. And at Revolt TV, he was using my phone and I didn't want him to see my messages. Maybe I called him an asshole. I tried to get my phone back. He ran into the bathroom, then slammed the door on my arm repeatedly. Injuries? Yes, bruises. Did you see him later? At the studio, he told me he sent all my compromising photos to his phone in case I had stuff on him. Kind of like a bullying joke. How did you take it? I had no photos, so I knew he was lying. What are these? My emails with Tony and Shannon. I said, Puff took my iPhone. I don't know when I'll get it back. Tony asked, what happened? I said, definitely an in-person story. Why? I wouldn't put violence in writing. Who was mad? Puff's engineer. At one point we dated. I have more, says the prosecution, but the judge says it's time for break. Okay, so we're back. The sexual assault, when did they occur? When I was working for Puff. When was the first time? The Plaza Hotel in New York for Puff's 40th birthday. Were you his personal assistant then? Yes, I'd been there only a few months. What rooms did Mr. Combs rent out? The penthouse, party guests and celebrities there. What did Mr. Combs do? He asked to speak to me in the kitchen. What did he do? He had everyone clear the room. What did he say? That we're going to be working closer together. He poured us 2 shots of vodka each for his birthday. What did you do with the shot? I took them. They hit me hard. Usually I could take it easily. My eyes couldn't focus. His face was closed. He put his arm up the side of my dress and he kissed me. Did you want him to? No. Were you able to say no? I was shocked. I froze. I didn't process what was happening. Next thing I knew, it was morning and I was in a chair in the penthouse. How had you looked at him? Like an older adult? He was the boss or the king. How were your expectations? I thought it would never happen again. A huge accident. Were there other times where he made you feel uncomfortable sexually? Yes, I had to carry bags to his room. Downstairs was Uncle Paulie. What did he say to you? Objection, says Steele. Grounds. Hearsay. For the effect, says prosecution. Overruled, says the judge. I brought the bags. He asked me to pull up something on his computer. He came and sat next to me, leaned over me as if to put his face in the computer, like in an uncomfortable way. How did you feel? I pretended I had to go to the bathroom. Where were you the next time Mr. Combs sexually assaulted you? The Beverly Grove house. I was asleep on the bottom bunk. I wasn't allowed to lock the door. I woke up. There was this weight of a person on me. Who? Puff. It was so fast. He used one hand to get his pants undone. He put himself inside of me. You mean his penis inside of you? I just froze. How did you feel? Terrified and confused and ashamed and scared? How long? Very quick.
I can barely open this Tootsie Roll midgie. Suddenly I've lost my appetite, Sean Combs, and I think it's because of you.
Mia said, but it felt like forever, but he wouldn't leave a job unfinished. Is that when it would end? Yes. The next time, the Beverly Crest house, I was on his bedroom closet floor putting things in a bag. Then Puff was in the closet. He had his penis out and he grabbed my head and she starts crying and he puts it in. Mr. Combs took his penis out and put it in your mouth? Yes, I was frozen. I didn't do anything. And she starts crying. How did you feel? Like trash, scared and ashamed. How long did it last? It was very fast. Were there other sexual assaults? Yes, I have a dark feeling. One time we were flying on a private jet. Everyone was asleep. By the bathroom, there was a bed. I went by and he was standing right there. I tried to make it about other people who might see or hear. It didn't work. How did you feel? Helpless. I had lost some layer of protection. I wasn't safe. Terrified. Do you remember what happened? No. Was Cassie ever there? No. Did you ever want these sexual acts with Mr. Combs? No. Did you ever tell him no? I couldn't tell him no about a sandwich or anything. Then he would know that I thought what he was doing was wrong. I didn't want to lose everything I'd worked so hard for. This was the only world I had anymore. What would happen to your job? I would never work in the industry again. And physically, that I'd be attacked? I don't want to be unalive. He threatened that he would tell Cass that I had something to do with it. How did you feel? Desperate and trapped? Worst scary situation. I would have never done anything. It was my fault. Did you tell anyone? No, I was gonna die with this. I would be humiliated, never work again. And who would do these things? Puff and all his people. This was way before social media and Me Too. There was this confidentiality. Did others speak up? Kayla Faulkner. Prosecution says, how did you hear? I heard there was an urgent call among film people. Prosecution says, what did you hear? Judge says, lay some context. Prosecution says, who was on the call? HR, C-suite executives. What were you told? If she sued, I'd have to testify. I was supposed to say she was drinking and punched me, and that's why she was fired. Was that why? No, it was because she complained. When else were you supposed to testify? After Capricorn Clark, did you have to testify? No. Why didn't you go to the police about Mr. Combs sexually harassing you? I didn't even consider it. Did you have experience with the police? Yes, I was speeding. I hadn't had time to get my license renewed. It was the only time I name dropped. I told her who I worked for and she said, get him on the phone. I did and she laughed. Oh, Puff Daddy, I love you. Did you get a ticket? No. Why didn't you tell us at first about the sexual assaults? It's the most shameful thing of my life. Did you get a lawyer for this testimony? Yes. Did you speak about the sexual assaults before or after you got the lawyer? After. Do you want to be talking about the sexual assaults? No, it's traumatizing. Why are you here today? Judge says, Miss Miser, you've asked that. Miss Miser said, we could break here. Judge says, jurors, we'll see you tomorrow. Y'all, that testimony was absolutely explosive. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything that happened today in trial day number 12? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching, but before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.